Evening, folks, and welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. And me being a little on that, I hope everybody's had a good day. Couldn't really think of anything last night to rant and rave about or chit chat about or anything else, but something came to the surface today that it's one of those ones that I has always PO'd me immensely as a mom and as a teacher, and now at the opposite end of life. And that is people who I call it bunny wrapping or bubble wrap their kids. That, oh, little Johnny can't do that, he might get hurt. Well, I get it if your child honestly has a physical disability that increases the chance of him getting hurt. Like, honestly, hurt. But no, he can't ride a bike because he might fall off and scrape his knee. Welcome to life. And it's rearing its ugly head again. That we want our loved ones to be safe so badly that we are not allowing them to live life to the fullest. No matter if they're 2 years old or they're 22 years old or they're 102 years old. So my kids, and I can vouch for my nephews too, but my kids, my husband at the time did the parentally safe thing and put those little pluggy things in the outlets. And my kids came around with one of them with their shirt pulled out and the other one had put them all in his sister's shirt and going, Mommy, somebody covered up all the plugs. We can't use them properly. I went, okay, so much for that. And my husband and I just looked at each other and went, well, I guess they're going to learn the hard way. I mean, we had talked about, no, you don't put anything in there because there's electricity. Don't do it because if you do, you'll get hurt. So we'd explain it to them. But at the same time, we figured we'd raised our kids to be smart enough and common sense enough to figure things out. Like, really. My grandson kept wanting to when he's little, stick his hand into something that was hot because it was bubbling and he wanted to see if the food was ready. And his dad kept saying, no, honey, you'll get burnt. No, honey, you'll get burnt. And my grandson kept doing it. So my son went, okay, just a minute. Turned on the cold water and then went, yeah, go for it. Kid put his hand and went, ow! And my son put his hand in the cold water immediately and said, okay, next time Daddy tells you maybe you shouldn't do it, don't do it. Kid learned real fast. He's now a really good cook. But he learned. We didn't bubble wrap him. And it's just more and more I'm finding people, not because they're so afraid the child's going to get hurt or their loved one's going to get hurt, but they're afraid of the pain it's going to cause them. So somebody you know, and I don't like the guy, but that's irrelevant, has a mother who's 102 years old. The lady has lived a very full life, has survived so much. The Depression, World War II, the Cold War, the pandemic. And she just keeps going on her little way with her little smile on her face. But her kid won't even let her walk down the stairs holding a railing. You might get hurt. She can't go for a walk. You might get hurt. Honey, she's 102 years old. She goes to bed every single night knowing damn well she might not wake up in the morning. She knows if she lays down and has a nap in the afternoon, she might not wake up in the morning after the nap. And all it means is she's going to go find her significant other who passed away a few years ago. But in the meantime, the poor old lady is bored out of her skull because her son won't let her do anything. And it's like, yes, we want to give them the means by which to keep them safe. So in the case of going to the bathroom, put a flipping rail down the side of the hallway so she's got something to hold on to. Simple as that. This is not complicated. She wants to go outside, then take her arm and take her outside. Like, my neighbor across the road, now in his defense, in his boy's defense, he lived by himself and his boys were concerned because he wasn't as sure on his feet as he used to be at 80 something or whatever. So they given him a walker. And I laughed because I walked out my front door one day to take my garbage down and there was my neighbor walking down with the garbage in one hand and his walker in the other. Kept the walker to keep the boys happy. And I said, that's not exactly how we use a walker, John. He said, yeah, but it keeps the boys happy. They told me to use it, to carry it. I'm carrying it. And I was like, okay, this is... It's his life. If he wants to fall down and bump himself or hurt himself, then let him. He's, at that time, 80 something. He chose to put himself in a nursing home because his wife had passed away 6 months before and he couldn't stand being in the big old house without her. So he put himself in a nursing home. And he missed her so much, within 6 months he was gone. Like, us bubble wrapping those people we love simply because we're afraid that we're going to be upset when they get hurt, or if they get hurt, is a lousy reason to bubble wrap them. It's a lousy reason to put them in a nursing home simply because you're afraid of what might happen. In John's case, he chose to go in, it was a retirement villa, right? My uncle did the same thing. My aunt passed away. He stayed on at the house for about a year and went, you know what? It's lonely out here. He put himself in a veterans nurse retirement home and passed away and had a wonderful time for a year and a half or something. And then he got to the point where he couldn't walk. He went, okay, I've lived long enough. And that was it. He was gone within a couple weeks. But he lived his life on his conditions, on his restrictions. He chose what he was going to do. My kids all know if they ever tell me that I can't do something, they're going to be dead meat. Like, this is so ridiculously stupid. It's idiotic. And it's pissing me off the more and more I hear it. And I overheard somebody having a conversation about, he's involved in scouting, and one of the other scouters 6 months ago or a year ago, roughly, was going out to the Kaibo and tripped and busted a hip. Okay? Sent to the hospital. He's had to have a hip replacement, everything else. All the other scouters are having panics because, well, what happens if he falls again? If he falls again, he falls again. If he breaks another bone, he breaks another bone. But stop making this man stop living his life to the fullest. He's been involved in scouting his whole life, and he's in his 80s. So it's been a very, very long time. This is his whole life. He comes to the camps. He does what he can. He knows his own personal limitations. Just like the lady who's 102, and I'm not joking when I say that. She's literally 102. She'll be 103 this year. She knows what she can and cannot do. Stop telling her what she can and cannot do because you're afraid she might get hurt. She's an intelligent woman. Same thing with this man. He knows what he can and cannot do. And if he goes out to the Kaibo in the middle of the evening and falls, yeah. Now, in that case, there are some things they can do. I was very pregnant and I took my cubs. About 8.5 months pregnant. I took my cubs to a cub camp and I was doing a center, which was logical instead of walking with my boys around because I was 8 months. Said, yeah, put me in a center. That'll be easier. And of course, you have to have somebody helping you at the center. So there was a young woman helping me at the center. And we got chit-chatting because we're together for the whole weekend. And she asked me what I did outside of being a mom and a scouter. And I told her, and she said, I said, well, what do you do? She said, oh, I'm a nurse. And I just smiled. I said, is that why you were paired up with me? Because you're a nurse and I happen to be very pregnant. She went, yeah, but the guys didn't want you to know. So they were just scared because I wasn't 6 months, I was 8.5. My little girl, I birthed about 2.5 weeks later. They made a compromise to make themselves feel better. That was it. I mean, grand total. Like, don't stop somebody living their life the way they want to live their life because you're afraid something's going to happen. Like, give me a break. And in that camp, we had a thunderstorm go through and all the tents were under trees. So there just came a call, get the boys, get the girls into the buildings. So, okay, fine. So every scouter went to their own pack because they're cubs, they're little, smaller kids, not the little guys. And we woke them up and we scurried them into the buildings because of the thunderstorm and it was going right over top. And some scouters came and said, Bev, we'll help you. I said, worry about your own boys first. Take care of your own guys first. And one of my boys would not wake up. Boy, that kid was a sound sleeper. And I had to pick him up. I was 8.5 months pregnant. I picked him up and carried him. The guys were going, oh my God, Bev. I went, go take care of your boys. I will scream if I need help. Don't tell people how to live their life. Like, because you're afraid they're going to get hurt. Like, this is stupid. And when it comes to little people, massively stupid, because you're teaching them to be flippin' scared about every single thing that happens in life. Stand beside them. Hold their hands. Go, you know what? You want to go do that? Let's go do that. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Now, if it's really, really dangerous, like let's jump off a cliff, then obviously you're going to say, no, that's not going to be a smart idea. You do that, you're going to fall, gravity's going to take over, and you get at the bottom of the cliff. There are some things that, yes, you're going to say, no, you can't do that. Right? Somebody who's extremely hard of seeing, has great visual. No, I don't think you're going to drive the car. Yes, there are some limits. But general living? No. Let's all stop bunny wrapping our people that we love because we're afraid they're going to get hurt. Having said that, we'll finish this off with, that goes for school too. If your kid can't successfully understand the concepts of this grade, and I'm just going to say grade 5, you are not doing them a favor putting them on to grade 6 because they're not ready for grade 6 or grade 7 or whatever grade. So pushing them on because you're afraid of little Johnny's feelings are going to get hurt and his self-esteem is going to get hurt. Yeah, it stinks to fail. It stinks to fail a kid. But because the parents have pushed so hard, we can't in Ontario fail our kids. And we're not doing them a service. Yes, it hurts. I failed. I had one of my kids failed. And we'll both tell you it hurts like shit. But I wasn't ready for grade 6, which is probably why I used the grade 5 example. I didn't have the concepts down solid enough. I didn't have my reading skills down well enough to be successful in grade 6. And that's all my teacher wanted. So I repeated grade 5. Gee, I grew up. I got 2 degrees. I'd like to go get my master's. It just meant I wasn't ready for the next level. Like, guys, we have to stop bunny wrapping everybody we know and love simply because we're afraid for our own sake that they're going to get hurt. And I get when somebody's 102 and you've had them for like 80 years of your life, that's a hard thing to have to let go. But sometimes we just have to let go and count the blessings we had them for. And that doesn't matter if you've had them for 80 years or 10. Just sometimes you just have to let go because it's just the way life is. Anyways, there's my rant for the day. I hope everybody's having a good day. Take care.